This is Karikter asked it. You already know Karikter did it. And that felt weird saying that because this is my blood brother, my actual brother, Denny Carter. Denny Carter, tell us about yourself. What are you doing right now?
Right now, I am stressing about the beginning of the U.S. Open tomorrow, which is the biggest golf tournament of the year in the United States.
And why does that bring you stress?
I'm stressing because, in order to enjoy a sport, I have to read about it, focus on it, analyze it, bet money on it until I'm miserable, until I hate every moment of it, and then I can go ahead and try to enjoy it. But yeah, no, I mean, I've been preparing. I've been cramming a cram session. I told our dad that I've been engaged in a 3-hour cram session trying to figure out who's going to win this thing, so I can waste money on putting bets on guys to win the U.S. Open. That's what I'm doing right now. It's very important stuff.
Why is that so important to you?
Oh man, I've always been a sports.
I don't know you. Tell me what you do. What do you do?
So I work for NBC Sports. I analyze football, talk about fantasy football, all day, all year round. There is no off season. I also have a little political side website, a blog. Some would call it a blog. That's what we would have called it in 2000.
That was a long time ago. Nobody called it that.
Called the Bad Faith Times. If folks want to check that out. And I've recruited some good people to write for that site, and it actually has been. We've been churning out some good articles, and I started a podcast today. But I meant to tell you, I actually didn't even tell you before.
Okay.
Started the Bad Faith Times podcast, official podcast. It started today. I mean, just it's something where I can silo my political stuff away from my sports stuff, because let me tell you something about sports fans. They don't want to hear about your politics. Sports fan, I mean, not everyone, I should say there are a good number of sports fans who acknowledge that there is an outside world, and that like sports don't really matter and the stuff outside of sports actually does matter. But the vast majority of sports fans would like to hear about sports and nothing else. They would like to pretend that sports exists in a vacuum and that society, there is no society outside of their precious sports. So that's why I have the Bad Faith Times site, and it's been a good little side thing for me to get things off my mind.
Okay, so you're here now. How did you get here? You started, I know because I'm your brother, but you started after college writing for the Beltsville Gazette, a tiny little small town newspaper. How'd you get from there to here?
Yeah, well, right after, during college, I started freelancing for the Gazette, and it was called the Beltsville News, which actually, old Karikter has had a picture of himself in the Beltsville News back in the day.
Now I gotta find it to put over the video. So thanks for that.
It's a good one. It's a good one. He was an assistant Little League baseball coach. So
I looked slightly different. He
got in there a little bit. Yeah, I mean, you were 14?
Something like that.
Yeah. So I started freelancing for those publications in college. I was making $35 a pop, $35 per article.
Man, rolling in there.
And I would churn out like 4 a week. So they would send me a check for $140 or whatever, and I thought I was rolling in dough. Like, I'd go to the bank, on a Friday after I got my check, and I deposit it, and I'd be like, oh yeah, $140, let's go. I'm like, do you know how many like Wendy's meals this could buy?
Let's go to Olive Garden. What?
You don't even you don't even understand. So started doing that. I was hired by the Gazette out of college. I started working for the Gazette 5 days after my college graduation. I had four full days between college graduation and my work life. Kind of wish I had taken a little more time.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Nevertheless, did it, and that was a great training ground. I made no money. I mean, none. I think they actually just gave me a box of peanuts at the end of every week, and I had to survive on that. Well, survive on that. I should say
protein. I mean, come on.
I should say I was in a very privileged spot because I happened to be living in the basement that just so happened to be located under our parents' house.
It's just a coincidence. It was just a coincidence.
It was the best deal I could find out there, and and you lived there too.
I did. I remember that period of time. I do.
And you lived and yeah, so it's not like I was strapped financially, but I was working for the Gazette. I do have to say, my distinct memory of that time period was that you would come home from Olive Garden or whatever restaurant you were working for at the time.
It was Olive Garden.
Smelling like an actual walking clove of garlic. It is actually unbelievable the stench of garlic that you carried around back then. Karikter smelled like a big thing of garlic, folks, is what I'm saying. And anyway, we're giving. I mean, but you acknowledge this, right?
Oh, for sure.
I lent you a shirt one time, a button-down shirt. And you gave it back, and I said, "No, keep it. I can't wear this. I can't. This smells like you dipped it in garlic, and kept it there for 12 hours.
Simmered it.
Whew, yeah. So anyway, and then so I went on to a few jobs that I hated, and then ended up at a progressive news site called Rewire.news. I worked there for 7 years as a senior editor. Didn't like editing all that much. I'm a writer and I like to write, and I was basically begging management to let me write the whole time. But here's the thing about writing is that it doesn't pay any money, and editing does. So went with the editing. Did that for 7 years, and actually during the first few months of COVID, I was laid off of that job.
Well, what did they do? What did that website do? What was their?
Yeah, so they focused primarily on healthcare issues, including abortion rights, and I became very, very involved in coverage of abortion-related legislation in the states, okay, like on state legislatures, and it was very wonky stuff, like very policy-heavy stuff. But once you become ingrained in that sort of atmosphere, that sort of environment, it becomes second nature. So that's what I did for those 7 years. Is I guided a team of younger reporters to cover this state legislation and how it impacted people on the ground. So, and that was fulfilling, and that was a good job. Even though, God, it was just a never-ending nightmare of horrible legislation that we had to cover. So, was laid off in June 2020. I connected with NBC Sports. A guy I knew had just left NBC Sports, so I reached out and I said, "Hey, I can work for you if you'd like. And their reaction was like, are you for real? You want to work for us? All right. I sound like a jerk now. What I mean is that I had been in, I'm skipping around here, I'm sorry, but I had been in the fantasy football industry for, and yes, it is an industry, for like 10 years at that point. But it was always my side thing. It was always a part-time gig, and everyone knew that. Like, everyone in the industry knew that. So when I became available full-time, they were like, wait, you want to do this full-time? I thought you did the journalism thing. I said, no, I'm done with that. Well, it's done with me. So we're on to sports, and I really have enjoyed that transition, and you knew me back when I was a sports fanatic. That sort of faded actually over the years, and now it's back full force, where I'm quite the sports fan. I love the sports.
The sports. No, and I will say that I love that for you. I'm so happy that that's happened. And I will tell you, I think I've told you this years ago, but maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
I used to think when you first started after college in your journalism pursuit, you used to spend so much time researching sports.
Yeah.
And you were still making the same brackets that we filled out.
Yeah.
Since I was a very young child. Every week, I used to think to myself, man, if he spent this time that he spends on sports on his journalism trying to get with the Washington Post or this, he would take over the world. He would do everything. But you had a passion. You had this driving force in you, and that's been sports. And that's, I can tell you from experience, that has been since the day you were 5 years old, from my experience. But like it's a awesome thing that this has become your career.
Yeah, it's definitely it feels right. I was very, very much into sports when we were kids. I used to, I think, either coerce you or bribe you into playing all manner of sports.
The videoing of the golf.
Yeah, so I used to. So just for the folks out there, we used to have
a film career.
We used to have a camcorder, and I would pay Karikter here. I don't know, $10 to come to the driving range and to film me over and over, film, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 swings. And then I would look over those swings and see how I could improve and everything. And I used to take the camcorder out to the golf course itself. I gotta watch one of those tapes one time.
I'm using this in this reel that I'll use with this moment. I'm gonna get that footage from Mom and Dad. I'm going to.
Oh man. Oh, that'll be great. That'd be great, because it was great. I mean, it was fantastic stuff. I mean, we both played like garbage, but it was fun. But it wasn't just golf. Like, I used to be like, here, strap on this football helmet. I'm gonna tackle you now, and then you would instantly get hurt. Like, within seconds, you'd be like, oh god,
I was super dramatic. I was so dramatic when I was a
my
kid.
neck, or I would play. Everything ended up in injury. Like, I remember playing this like wiffle ball game where we would have to have a home plate collision. It was a home plate collision game. The ball would come into me, and you would have to try to bulldoze me, or I would have to bulldoze you. And, since I was, I don't know, 8 inches and 50 pounds heavier than you, it ended up in my favor. So
How about the QB sack game we used to play at the edge of mom and dad's bed? One of us would stand there and the other one would just come clothesline them, just intentionally. I don't know how we didn't break bones. I don't know how we didn't break bones. It doesn't make sense.
So the game, here's the game for people who can't imagine it. It's where the quarterback would just stand there with his back to the defender, and the defender would come full head of steam, and just clobber the quarterback. And that didn't really work too well for Corey because he was way smaller than me, and it worked just fine for me. Like I enjoyed doing that because I could just take him out completely. I mean these sort of hits would be illegal. They would draw suspensions in today's NFL. You would be fined and suspended by the league for these hits, and we were doing this as small children. So shout out to mom and dad, I guess.
Yeah, love you.
Go ahead.
You are now working for NBC. And you're doing all of these things. I want to know about what you're doing for NBC and the accomplishments that you've achieved, the places you've gone, the maybe events you've attended.
Yeah. Yes, I think you're referring to the 2 Super Bowls that they've sent me to.
Those would be the ones I'm trying to get to. Yeah.
Yeah. They sent me to Super Bowl in Los Angeles. And that was in 2022, and then this year they sent me to the one in Arizona. That's a surreal. It's a surreal thing because you end up in the same room with players you grew up watching, and guys who play today. And it's different though. I mean, for me, I try to remember that I'm almost 40 years old, that the guys playing today are 23, 24 years old. I'm not gonna fanboy a 24-year-old NFL player, okay? I will fanboy a 55-year-old NFL player who played in the 90s. Obviously, that goes without saying. There was actually a Buffalo Bills receiver named Andre Reed who I saw at the Super Bowl. And I just came up and I said, "Hi, Mr. Reed." Yeah, he is older than me, so I said, "Hey, Mr. Reed, I just want to say hi, and it's nice to meet you. And I want you to know, as a Miami Dolphins fan, in the '90s, you ruined many a Sunday for me." And he laughed. He laughed pretty good. So I felt good about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But yeah, I've been to 2 Super Bowls. Now I should say I didn't go to the game, which I know is like a big deflating moment for everyone who asks me, "Oh, how was the game?" And I go, I didn't go to the game. They didn't spot me, $6,000 to go to the game. But
were you on set with NBC? Okay, so tell me about the first year, especially that you went. You did some really fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You did some really fun stuff. Mm-hmm. That had to be. That was like everything we did as kids. Those games that we're talking about, all that backyard football that we talked about. You did that on national TV, outside the Super Bowl, days before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we did a bunch of pre-planned clips where we would run through a tackle dummy. We would do the 40-yard dash. We didn't really run it, by the way. My pants were far too tight that day. And, nobody wants to see my pants actually ripped down the middle. So we fake ran the 40, and then we did some other. We threw a football. Did I send? I think I sent you the video of me throwing the ball to my buddy. I felt like I had some pretty good throws that I put on tape, which was good. Maybe if a team is looking for a backup, Maybe you wanna look my way.
They're not going to. They're not. It's not gonna happen. No.
39-year-old who can't use his recumbent bike every day because his knees kind of hurt. I don't know if I'm getting that call. So yeah, but they have sent me to some cool places. They've sent me to some conferences, fantasy football conferences, and that's also kind of surreal because you get to meet people who you only know through the internet, right? And so you're like, some people will come to you, hey, I'm Sam from the internet, and I'm like, oh yeah, we've interacted 10,000 times online.
Right, you feel like they're friends. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, very cool thing. I had one kid come up to me, some college student, and he was like, hi. He's like, Mr. Carter, I just wanted to say, it's great to meet you, and I've been reading your stuff for a long time, and I was wondering if you had any advice for me. And I'm like,
first of all, you had me wrong at Mr. Carter.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I was like looking around for Dad. And he said, Mr. I was like, is Dad here? Did he come to the conference?
Let me call my dad. Hey, Dad, you got any advice for this kid?
No. Oh, you're talking to me. Oh, I see. Oh, right. I'm the old guy now. You're looking for advice. And he didn't like my advice, by the way.
What was it?
Because I think he wanted advice like, you gotta just keep grinding, and you gotta outwork the next guy, and you gotta know that everybody's working harder than you. And I didn't say any of that. I was like, look, if you want to be good at writing, you have to do two things. You have to read a lot, and you have to write a lot. And that's it. So I know, and I want to be like, as a Zoomer, I know you've never read anything. I know you've never even seen a book in person. My advice to you would be to pick up one book and start reading it. He didn't like that. Yeah, I could see he was like, oh,
it takes work, not just a mindset, huh?
I thought, right, exactly. I thought that you were just going to tell me to make better TikToks, something. I mean, nothing against TikTok. I make a lot of stupid social media stuff. Don't get me wrong. But, he wanted to know about writing. He wanted, how do I get to be a better writer? It's not fun. You will have no fun. You read and you write until you're good at it. I will say that there is something to be said about tech savviness. That's not a word. Tech savvy among the youngsters. That I don't really have.
You couldn't have made yourself sound older right then.
Are the kids not saying youngster?
Yeah, the tech savviness of the youngsters. Like, I mean, damn, the two terms together were not cool.
Hey, I learned a new term the other day from the Zoomers. Rizzed up. You familiar with this?
I'd imagine it's like hyped up.
Yeah. Right. Oh, hey, because I heard this. I heard Baby Gronk got rizzed up by Livy, and now he's the new drip king. Is that?
This interview's over now. All right.
Who's the drip king?
I have no clue what you just said. I have no clue.
I'm just saying. I'm just trying to keep up with the times. I just want to get rizzed up. Just once.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
But it has been good. NBC has been a good home for me. Sometimes they send me to New York. They send me to New York, to their studios there, to do the Fantasy Football Happy Hour, which is a show, sometimes a live show in studio. And let me tell you how weird it is to have someone put pancake makeup on your face.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it makes you look really good, though. It does. and I can report that nobody on TV looks like that. Nobody. No, that's all fake. I sent a picture. I sent a selfie to my wife, to Melissa, after I had the makeup applied, and she was like, "Oh my God, you look so young." And I'm like, Yeah, I know. I mean, I look like I was 18. The makeup artist actually was like putting stuff on under my eyes. She was like, "I'm gonna take away 5 years here."
Wow.
I was like,
oh, thanks.
I don't know how to take that,
Yeah.
lady.
I appreciate it right now, but can you hang out every day?
Yeah, really. Yeah, please do this for me every day. Like that.
Is there anything else that you feel like I didn't know to ask you about the way that you accomplished everything? I mean, I feel like we've skipped over a lot.
I mean, yeah, I know I bounced around a lot. And you could probably speak to this too, but if you are passionate about something, if you're a big nerd about something, that's good. Like it's good to have like a hyper focus, and sometimes that shifts. I mean, not everybody has the same hyper focus from year to year or throughout their life. But if you can turn that into your everyday, that's usually a good combination, and I'm not saying like you got to turn that into a money maker, a profit maker. In fact, I would say, just from my experience, if you really want to enjoy something, do not make money doing it.
Truth.
I don't know. Do you agree with that?
Truth. That's why I regret going to film school.
Yeah, right. Because you don't
loved
like it.
film. I loved film. I loved video. I loved that whole idea of making movies and TV shows. But I went to film school, and then I required myself to profit off of my passion. I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I had gotten a degree that got me a job, that got me a whole bunch of money so I could work that for like 5-10 years and save up and then produce all of the video things that I wanted to produce while I watched YouTube. But I happened to go to film school like the year YouTube was invented. So,
Yeah, I guess you're right. Back then there were limited things on YouTube.
For sure. I think YouTube came out in like 04, blew up in 05. I went to film school in 07. It was 2007 when the first 12-year-old made $8 million or whatever off of opening toys. And I was going to film school and I was like, shit. I made the wrong choice.
We don't call it opening anymore. We call it unboxing.
Unboxing, yeah.
Unboxing. God, what a horrible term. That's what my son kept saying. Xavier kept saying, I'm watching this unboxing, and I'm like, oh, this must be something like really complicated that I don't understand. No, they're just opening stuff. It's just grown men opening baby toys. That's all it is, and they're millionaires for it.
Exactly. Dang. And that was literally the moment I realized that, damn, I'm in full sail. I'm in film school. I'm gonna finish it, but maybe this wasn't the right move. I mean, if I had waited a year, if I waited 1 year, I would have been able to see that, okay, you could just watch tutorials, you could do this, you could do that, but the everything's ever shifting, and honestly, it was a different environment, and not like, I really try not to make these interviews anything about me, but all of the things that I got from Full Sail, all of the experience that I got from Full Sail are the things that are making me able to do these interviews right now and edit them the way that I am, shoot them the way that I am. So, there's always these weird benefits like you experienced, for real.
Yeah.
With your passion for football for the whole time. Right. And I mean, not just football, but sports in general, but especially football. And, you were making literal charts of the games every single week, of football games every single Sunday, and we were circling who we thought would win, and you calculated it all out, and you found the winner at every day of every week, and then every season. That's something that most kids wouldn't want to do. That was your passion. It was a burning passion in you. You loved it. You lived for it, and you got on the journalism hustle and you went another direction to make money, and that makes sense. But at the end of the day, you still had this side hustle, and then the main hustle fell through. So you made the side hustle the real thing, and that made your dreams become a reality at that moment.
Yeah, I know. I do try to sometimes remind myself that I get to write and talk about football for money. By the way, if you want to hear me talk about football, I'm on the Roto World Football Show, which you can find on iTunes and other places. Also, the NFL on NBC YouTube page, folks, is where I am
the
very
small
often.
little company NBC. If you've ever heard of this, the company NBC, he's on there too.
You can find my mug all over the NFL on NBC YouTube page. I just real quick about the lifelong aspect of sports. I don't know if you remember, but I used to keep stats in wiffle ball. Where I would bring a notebook, and as the game unfolded, I would be like, okay, I had this many RBIs, and Corey had this many and your double and your home runs and whatever. And I at the end of the season, I would tally it up and be like, oh hey, look, I led in home runs here at the wiffle ball court, where I'm the oldest kid by several years. What do you know? I guess I'm good. I guess I'm really good because I beat you guys. So you guys are in diapers, and I'm entering middle school at that point. So I've always been a stat head. I've always been a big sports fan. So it is nice to be able to do that for a living, for sure.
It is, and I'm so happy for you that that's happened. It's incredible. You're a small example. You're a rare example of someone who really tried to play things smart and go the logical route, but ended up in your dream field.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Kind of by accident, but hey, I'll take it.
Exactly. And that's inspiring, because you try to do things the way that you thought the game was supposed to be played, but life just kept bringing you back to what you wanted to do, and that is an incredibly inspiring thing. Everyone hopes for that. Everyone hopes for that.
Thanks, Karikter. I appreciate it.
That was weird. Is there anything else that I didn't think to ask you, I didn't know to ask you, that you want to talk about? Anything you got coming up?
Check out the Bad Faith Times site. I post there about twice a week. Everything I talked about, Roto World Football Show. But mostly we're ramping up for the NFL season, which the preseason and the training camps start next month. So we'll get into that, but nothing coming up right now. Just check out those 18 sites that I mentioned, and we'll be good.
I hope you wrote them down, folks. I hope you wrote them down.
Please do.
If not, just scroll back and rewatch it, because that'd be cool too.
Yeah.
This has been Characterized with my actual brother, Denny Carter, who has accomplished his dreams by accident. I appreciate your time, man.
Of course.
We'll see y'all next time. Peace out.